Hey YouTube, happy Friday. Hope things are going well wherever you are. Another week kind of in the books here on this end. Things have still been kind of quiet, just kind of keeping occupied with work-related stuff. I did get a couple of items in the mail, so that's going to be the main thing in this video. I'm going to chat for a little bit and then I'll show you kind of a handful of items, just a couple, although a couple of these cards are kind of nice and they're kind of fun. One thing I'm going to be doing in the realm of actually planning ahead a little bit is after I record this video, I'm actually going to record a little showcase that I'm going to do on, I'm going to try to publish it on Sunday, and it'll be a fun one. I've got some parallels and some nice stuff that I kind of want to show off, and some almost rainbows and kind of partial, rainbows in progress, if you will. And that's kind of some stuff that I wanted to look into. One other thing I'll quickly say, and I'll probably talk more about it on the Sunday video, is I got a chance to see the Jordan documentary. So I reactivated my Netflix, and thinking about that actually brought back to mind what I was thinking about. And I'm actually kind of curious. There's obviously TV, and I'm not the kind of person who spends a lot of time watching the news. I'll watch just enough to understand, and by watch I mean I'll check a couple of sites once or twice a day just to get the headlines quickly, scan them, and if nothing major has changed, it's more of the same, I kind of move on from there. I really don't like spending a ton of time on it because to me that isn't entertaining and I don't really get any comfort or good feelings about it. I tend to just watch it, and then if something happens that I think is impactful, then I'll pay a little closer attention to that. But that's just me. Now, some people I do spend, I think, time watching Netflix. I've got Amazon Prime because I get stuff ordered in from time to time. So with that comes Prime Video, and they've got some good movies and TV shows and stuff. I don't watch too much of that. To be honest, my main thing that I watch a lot of is YouTube, like this. Videos like this one. And part of that is that it just interests me more. And I do find that the algorithm does a pretty good job finding stuff that I might be interested in addition to stuff I'm already subscribed to in channels that I want to watch. But from time to time, and this is what led me to this whole train of thought, from time to time I'll get some really random recommendations that I genuinely have no idea how the algorithm comes up with it. And I wish they used to have like a little feature where you would see why this was brought up and they would give you some kind of context, but now I don't think they give you anything. And for some reason, YouTube and, I fully accept our YouTube, our Google overlords that in the search engine and the algorithm, but for some reason it really thinks that I want to watch or listen to Fleetwood Mac's "Go Your Own Way." And the thing is, it's a great song. I've got nothing against it and nothing against Fleetwood Mac, but I couldn't think. I was looking through my search history and stuff, and I was like, why "Go Your Own Way"? Why Fleetwood Mac specifically? And the thing is, it would be one thing if it was only trying to recommend the actual Fleetwood Mac "Go Your Own Way." I've been getting a lot of recommendations here and there, it's scattered throughout, for covers of "Go Your Own Way." So not just the regular version by the actual band, but covers of the song. They really want me to listen to the song. And I refuse, YouTube. I'm not doing it. I don't care. I just thought that was kind of funny and a bit random, and I've seen it enough times over the last week or two that I don't know what the algorithm's thinking on that one. And the rest of my stuff, my recommendations, seem pretty normal. But for some reason, that's one that stuck out to me that just tends to come up a lot. Now, the second thing related to that, and kind of what I said, is on the Sunday I'll talk more about the Jordan documentary, The Last Dance. Now, I did talk about in my last video about what were some things about the sports card market that I thought were kind of interesting, and I thought that the documentary might have more of an impact as well, and it seems to be. I kind of want to revisit kind of my thoughts on that now that I had the chance to watch the documentary, and I do have some thoughts on the documentary as well, so I'll throw that in. So now we're going to get into the pickups here. A quick note. Going forward, I didn't do it in this video because I forgot to think about it ahead of time, but I'm going to start putting the timestamps on it so if it is a pickup video, you can skip straight to it if that's what you want to check out. So I'll keep that in mind for future videos. I'm making a mental note about it. First one is 2001 SPX Winning Materials. It's a triple jersey card of Jason Giambi, Todd Helton, and Carlos Delgado. So that one is in addition to the Delgado collection. Hopefully we can get that without all the glare. Pretty straightforward, a triple jersey card, a decent looking card. Now here's the thing. I was taking a look at this, and and the price on this was fair. I got it for maybe about $5 or $6, including shipping, so it was pretty fair. Now, 2001 was an interesting year for these guys because all three of them were having pretty darn good seasons in 2001. And I was looking at it and going, in 2001 this would have been a pretty great pull because Delgado had a good season, but a little bit down by his standards because by 2001 he was starting to move into his prime years. By 2003 he had a runner-up MVP year to A-Rod, and that was early 2000s A-Rod, and I'm just going to leave it at that. He was runner-up to that. probably should have won the MVP that year. But the thing is that that year he hit in the 270s, and he hit 39 home runs and 100 RBIs, which is a pretty good season by most standards. But you have to compare him to the kind of the company he kept on this card, because in 2001, Todd Helton hit 49 home runs and I think over 140 RBIs. And I'll try to put the real stats on the screen if I can. And Jason Giambi himself had a pretty good season. I think 38 home runs and 120 RBIs, and he hit like 340. And I think Helton hit like 330. Again, I'm going approximate. I did scan some of the stats ahead of time. But just think about that. The three guys basically averaged over 40 home runs. Helton almost hit 50. And two of the guys were 330 and 340 averages respectively. And Delgado technically had the worst season of the three with 39 home runs and a 270 average, which most power hitters would take. That's a pretty good combination of guys for 2001. Kind of a throwback. I'll talk more later time. That's part of the reason I've started to PC Delgado so much and picking up cards here and there where I can, because I really do think he's criminally underrated, especially for the area he was in, and considering he did end his career a little bit early because of injury. I think if he had been allowed to finish a couple more seasons there, because he was more than likely going to, his numbers would look even more gaudy. And as it is, they're pretty good. So it's I'll talk more about that in a later video. So this one is also for the Delgado PC. And Near Mint Musings actually showed off one of these cards, a different year, I think. But it's ironic. So this is the 2000 Revolution Delgado. So this is the Shadow Series. And this one isn't quite as nice as that particular year, but it is still pretty nice. You do get a pretty good sense of the shine. There's a lot of stuff. It's a very busy card. So if you like simplicity, this one doesn't do it. There's definitely a lot going on this card here. So you got kind of like almost an ice blue foil, because if you know anything about Pacific, that's basically like one of the staple colors of some of their parallels. You've got an embossed surface here on this part. So you can see that, hopefully. I'll try to zoom in a little bit. There you go. And one of the hardest features to pick up, although I think you can get a little bit here depending on how you angle it, is that it's got an embossed piece here that says Shadow Series kind of right in the middle of the card, which is kind of a weird way of doing it, but it does work. So anyway, you can kind of get a sense of how kind of the holographic background. It's one of those things where you got to get the lighting just right in order to be able to properly represent it. It is pretty tricky to do. Second here, if I can get my focus. I think all that shine drove the camera crazy. I apologize. And the last thing is these ones are out of 99. So there you go. You can see that on there. Really small font on that serial numbering, but very cool card. And this Beckett values really don't mean a lot these days, but just to put it into perspective, this is all of $4. I technically overpaid for it. I think I paid $5 including shipping. But it's a great card. The last one is really the highlight of this pickup video. I tried to kind of stay very responsible. As you can see by two fairly inexpensive cards, I would say, including shipping, pretty reasonable. This one, though, was a really good one. The opportunity to pick it up was probably too good to miss, although that didn't mean that it wasn't worth making an offer on. It was an eBay buy it now with best offer, so I decided to make an offer. And they did counter, and then I actually countered their counter and ended up getting it for a price that I thought was pretty fair. Next weekend would actually have been the Spring Expo, where we have a twice yearly big card show here in kind of the Greater Toronto area, and that's usually the one that I like to attend and visit with people. It's kind of our mini version of the National, if you will, kind of in the Canadian side of things, because that's the biggest show in Canada. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. You know, beginning of May, that's a no-go. All the things for the next month or two have been already canceled, so that show is definitely going to go by the wayside. So normally, if a card like this had been available, and it wouldn't have surprised me if it would have been, at the price they were asking for the buy it now, I probably would have still picked it up. I would have tried to haggle with them a little bit in person, but I probably would have paid it. As it was, I was able to get it for a small discount, but a really nice card. So this is a 2006-2007 In the Game Ultimate. So that's a really premium brand for that era. You've got a triple autograph with Mike Modano, Mario Lemieux, and Steve Yzerman. So I've got a number of different triple and double autographs and things with Modano, and usually it can be sometimes another Hall of Famer, or it can be a teammate or thing, and usually Modano is kind of on par or around the same level as a lot of the people on the card. But this is one of those rare cases where I can say definitively that he's the third best player on the card, and that's tough to say considering the three guys have over 1,900 NHL career goals when you add it all up. I think around 1,940. And Modano has about 560 by himself, but the two guys at the top have almost 700 each. And this one's numbered out of 10. So it is a pretty limited card. but a very nice triple autograph kind of to finish off the mail day. Can't complain when I can pick up one of those for the collection. I'm not going to go too crazy on too many high-end cars like this, but that was a good one for sure. So I'll kind of leave it at that. A couple of nice pickups for the collection. There should be a couple of items coming in the next little while. Most of them are going to be fairly inexpensive, but I did see a couple of decent items that I also picked up. So I'm kind of trying to space things out, and it's gonna show. As far as the mail days are concerned, there aren't going to be a lot of them, or if there are, you know, they'll kind of be compacted together. But that's kind of what you have to do, and it's a reflection of the time we're in. The good news, I suppose, based on the thing I talked about, the sports card in the video the other day, is that if you're collecting either Hall of Famers from hockey, who aren't Wayne Gretzky or Sidney Crosby or, you know, Alexander Ovechkin, a couple of the top name guys, we're not seeing that price inflation that seems to be hitting other parts of the market. So if your player's been retired for 10 plus years and they're in the Hall of Fame, you're probably okay. Unless their name's Michael Jordan, then probably not so much. The other aspect is if you've got like a fan favorite from the previous time, I don't think that's really affected the prices either. I haven't really seen any inflation on, late 90s and early 2000s Carlos Delgado cards. It doesn't matter if they're limited or nice looking or whatever. And I don't think I will for a while. So I don't think this situation is going to affect that too much. So I guess that's a plus. So it's not the whole sports card market, although some people seem to be making it sound like it is. But I'm genuinely curious to kind of see where it goes, because I still don't think it's sustainable, and nothing I've seen in the last week or two has really changed my mind on this. But I'm still keeping an eye. I'm still genuinely curious and interested, and that's kind of where I'm looking at it. But I'll talk more about that, I think, later on. Thanks, as always, for watching. I appreciate it if you made it to the end of the video. If you've got any comments or questions, feel free to throw them in. I'd be happy to respond to anything you've got, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks very much.